UNESCO and the United States relationship to that United Nations body?
Yes, now there's big questions surrounding this one, guys. This first slide is from the State Department, not from the White House, headlined, "The United States Withdraws from the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, aka UNESCO," a July 22nd press release, again from the Department of State. Tammy Bruce issued the press release. And what's interesting here, and this also comes, this next slide, from the State Department to get into just a little bit of the meat of that press release. Continued involvement in UNESCO is not in the U.S. national interest, they're saying. UNESCO advances divisive social and cultural causes and maintains an outsized focus on the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals, a globalist ideological agenda, at odds with our American First foreign policy emphasis. UNESCO's decision to admit the state of Palestine as a member state, says the State Department of the U.S., is highly problematic, interesting, contrary to U.S. policy, and contributed to the proliferation, they say, of anti-Israel rhetoric within UNESCO. So pursuant to Article 2.6 of the UNESCO Constitution, the U.S., however, the withdrawal will not take effect until the end of 2026. Quite a long time. When the U.S. apparently backed out of the WHO, that won't be official, we're told, until the beginning of 2026. So there's some long time frames, and a lot can happen in those time frames, backpedaling, second guessing, you name it. Now, Reuters came out with a little something on this I'll just touch on. Trump pulls U.S. out of UN Cultural Agency, UNESCO, for a second time. Trump did that in his first term. Biden put us back in, and now the Trump administration wants to take us out again. UNESCO boss says the decision is regrettable but expected. The White House says UNESCO supports woke causes, and Israel welcomes the U.S. decision to pull out, again, because UNESCO recognized Palestine as a state. How dare they? Moving on here, this is also quite interesting. Patrick, I think you'll get a little bit of a kick out of this. UNESCO was one of several international bodies Trump withdrew from during his first term. The Paris Climate Agreement, so on and so forth, the UN Human Rights Council, although he has reinstated some of those steps, apparently. But look at the second part here that I emphasize. Trump's pick to be his UN envoy, Mike Walls, he said recently, and apparently he said this, I really would like to double check this quote. He said this month that the United Nations needs reform while expressing confidence that we can make the UN great again. Make the UN great again. Coming from someone in the Trump White House, that sounds, to say the least, incongruent. And in this next slide, I'll be very cherry picking about this. In a post on X, Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar thanked Washington for its, quote, moral support and leadership, end quote, and said that singling out Israel and politicization by member states must end in this and all professional UN agencies. So that's interesting here. Now, although the Trump administration is saying that UNESCO is too woke for comfort, and they see this as going against the America First policy, they're really not as explicit as most UNESCO critics are. UNESCO is, in the left-wing sense, in the internationalist sense, a pretty radical organization, historically speaking. Very big on LGBTQ, very big on so-called gender equality, which is a very mixed bag and rather subversive and misleading. Very big on reproductive rights, a euphemism for abortion. According to Worldometer, last year, abortion was the leading cause of death, apparently, in the entire world. So UNESCO has taken some pretty radical positions across the board. There are a number of reasons to get out of UNESCO from a conservative national sovereignty point of view, if you're skeptical of the UN Charter. But all the Trump administration has made is some vague comments about disagreeing with its social policies and that it's too woke. They could be a little clearer of why many conservative organizations have had their doubts for a very long time about UNESCO, but there's not a lot of clarity there. And the comment by Mr. Walls, and I'd like to confirm it, make the UN great again, is very incongruent and puzzling if you're a genuine UN critic. So that's what's going on there. We'll see if they actually withdraw from UNESCO. We have to wait and see, because the reality of this is a little hard to peg. So there we go.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for that. Well, look, I'm afraid, are completely out of time. So we're going to leave it there for today. Plenty to talk about in UK Column News Extra. If you're a UK Column member, please stick on the live stream and join us for that. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Mark. And thank you to everybody that's watched. We'll see you, as many as possible that are coming tonight, for Andrew Bridges' discussion in Totnes. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday at 1 p.m. as usual. Bye-bye.